While reading the book, The Destruction of Black Civilization, of the great African-American scholar Dr. Chancellor Williams, I came across this marvel of a work that he had written after his extensive research on the way of life of his ancestors on his travels on the African continent. The doctor came across a body of laws and a constitution that was not only sophisticated but also very democratic, people-driven, and fair. The power of the Constitution was drawn from the people. This was not only mind-blowing to me, but also extremely revealing, because it debunked the myth that the African people needed the European to teach them how to govern themselves and teach them about democracy. But further, it debunked the idea that Greece was the sole discoverer of the democratic idea. The African Constitution laws you are about to see will prove to you that Africans were a democratic and lawful people that cared a lot about social harmony and the well-being of the people. Note that these laws were practiced in most African societies up until they were destroyed by the arrival of the colonizers, whether they were European or Arab. But thanks to the work of great African scholars and historians such as Chancellor Williams, their laws have survived till this day, at least in this form. So I would like us to honor the work of our ancestors by remembering their thoughtful endeavor to harmonize their society and live peacefully with one another. May these laws serve as an example and an inspiration for the future lawmaker and political leader of the African people on the continent and in the diaspora. With that said, let me now get to present these laws. Disclaimer: this work will be presented as it is written in the book of Dr. Chancellor Williams. I will not add or remove anything from it, nor will I add any commentary, except for the one I just gave in the introduction of this video. For those who would like to read the book of Dr. Chancellor Williams, there is a link in the description of a place where you can buy it. This is a book I highly recommend every African to read, whether on the continent or in the diaspora. Alright, I think that's enough from me. Let's begin. The following set of laws can be found in The Destruction of Black Civilization, page 170 to 173. Let's begin. Some political theories and principles of ancient African constitution law and the fundamental rights of the African people, drawn from African traditional constitutional and customary laws. Different versions and modifications of the same laws occurred in different societies. 1. The people are the first and final source of all power. 2. The rights of the community of people are, and of right ought to be, superior to those of any individual, including chiefs and kings. A. The will of the people is supreme law. B. Chiefs and kings are under the law, not above it. 3. Kings and chiefs and elders are leaders, not rulers. They are the elected representatives of the people and the instruments of executing their will. 4. Government and people are one and the same. 5. The family is recognized as the primary social, judicial, economic, and political unity in the society. The family council may function as a court empowered to try all internal, non-serious matters involving only members of the extended family group. 6. The elder of each extended family or clan is its chosen representative on the council. 7. Decisions in council are made by the elders. The chief or the king must remain silent even when the council's decision is announced. It is through a speaker or a linguist. Decrees or laws are issued in the same manner to assure that the voice of the chief or the king is the quote-unquote voice of the people. In brackets, this is an example of a provision that had wide variations. 8. The land belongs to no one. It is God's gift to mankind for use and as a sacred heritage, transmitted by our forefathers as a bond between the living and the dead, to be held in trust by each generation for the unborn who will follow, and thus to the last generation. 9. Each family, therefore, has a right to land free of charge, sufficient in acreage for its economic well-being. For the right to the opportunity and means to make a living is the right to live. A. The land, accordingly, cannot be sold or given away. B. The land may be held for life and passed on to the family's heirs, and so on forever. C. The chief is the custodian of land, the principal duty being to assure fair distribution and actual use. 10. All monies, gifts, taxes, and other forms of donations to chief or king still belong to the people for relief or aid to individuals in times of need. 11. Every member of the state has the right of appeal from a lower to higher court. In some states, appeals could be taken even from the king's court to the quote-unquote mother of the nation. A. The procedure was from the chief's village court to the district court to the provincial court to the king's court. B. Such appeals were allowed in serious or major crimes only, in brackets, those affecting the whole society. 12. Fines for offenses against an individual went to the victim, not the court. A. Part of the money received from the loser was returned to him as an expression of goodwill and desire for renewal of friendship. B. Another part was given as a fee to the trial court as an appreciation of justice. 13. Quote-unquote royalty in African terms means royal worth, the highest in character, wisdom, sense of justice and courage. A. He who founded the nation by uniting many as one must be the real leader, guide, and servant of his people. B. The people, in honor of the founder of the nation, thereafter will elect chiefs from the founder's family, in brackets, lineage, if the heirs meet the original test that reflected the founder's character, whose spirit was supposed to be inherited. 14. The trouble of one is the trouble of all. No one may go in want while others have anything to give. All are brothers and sisters. Each is his quote-unquote brother's or sister's keeper. 15. Age grades, sets, and classes are social, economic, political, and military systems for 1. Basic and advanced traditional education, in brackets, formal. 2. Individual and group responsibility roles. 3. Police and military training. 4. Division of labor. 5. Rites of passage and social activities. In chiefless societies, the age grades are the organs of social, economic, and political action. 16. Bride price or bride wealth is the gift that signifies mutual acceptance on the part of both families and is intended as a family security bond which may be returned in part if the wife turns out to be worthless or utterly unsatisfactory. In brackets, bride wealth tended to stabilize the institution of marriage. This was not quote-unquote wife buying. 17. The community as a whole is conceived of as one party, opposition being conducted by leaders of various factions. 1. Factions of opposition are usually formed by the different age groups. 2. Debates may go on indefinitely or until a consensus is reached. 3. Once a consensus is reached and the community's will determined, all open opposition to the common will must cease. 4. Those whose opposition is so serious that they are unwilling to accept the new law may quote-unquote splinter off, either individually or in groups under a leader, in brackets, to form a new state or the nucleus for it. 18. In warfare, the object is not to kill the enemy, but to overcome him with fear, if possible, such as screaming, war cries, loud noises, hideously masked faces, etc. Where killing is unavoidable, it must be kept at a minimum. In case of defeat, there must be some kind of ruse to enable the enemy to retire in honor. 19. The African religion, not being a creed or quote-unquote articles of faith, but an actual way of thinking and living, is reflected in all institutions and is, therefore, of the greatest constitutional significance. 1. Politically, the role of the chief as high priest who represents the prayers of the people to his and their ancestors in heaven is the real source of his influence, political and otherwise. 2. Socially, the quote-unquote rites of passage songs and the dances, in brackets, to drive away evil, etc., as well as the purification of sacrificial rites for the atonement of sins are important. 20. Since religious and moral law must prevail and the race survive, a man may have more than one wife, for he is forbidden to sleep or cohabitate with his wife either during the 9 months of pregnancy or during the suckling period of 1 or 2 years thereafter. 1. The wife may not prepare meals for the husband or family during the menstrual period. 2. The husband is strictly forbidden to have any kind of relationship during the set period that belongs to another wife. 21. The supreme command of the fighting forces is under the consul, not the king. If the king becomes the commander-in-chief, it is through election by the consul because of his qualification as a general or field commander. This position ends with the war and the armed forces return to former status under the consul or, more directly, under the representative paramount chiefs. There were no standing armies. The fundamental rights of the African people. The following is a representative number of human rights, also drawn from customary laws or tradition constitutions. Every member of the community had 1. The right to equal protection of the law. 2. The right to a home. 3. The right to land sufficient for earning livelihood for oneself and family. 4. The right to aid in times of trouble. 5. The right to petition for redress of grievances. 6. The right to criticize and condemn any acts by the authorities or proposed new laws, in brackets, opposition groups in some areas called the young men were recognized by law. 7. The right to reject the community's final decision on any matter and to withdraw from the community unmolested, the right of rebellion and withdrawal. 8. The right to a fair trial. There must be no punishment greater than the offense or fines beyond the ability to pay. This latter is determined by income and status of the individual and his family. 9. The right to indemnity for injuries or loss caused by others. 10. The right to family or community care in case of sickness or accidents. 11. The right to special aid from the chief in circumstances beyond a family's ability. 12. The right to a general education covering morals and good manners, families' rights and responsibilities, kinship groups and social organization, neighborhoods and boundaries, farming and marketing, rapid mental calculation, and family, clan, tribal, and state histories. 13. The right to apprentice training for a useful vocation. 14. The right to an inheritance as defined by custom. 15. The right to develop one's ability and exercise any developed skills. 16. The right to protect one's family and kinsmen, even by violent means, if such becomes necessary and can be justified. 17. The right to the protection of moral law in respect to wife and children, a right which not even the king can violate. 18. The right of a man, even a slave, to rise to occupy the highest positions in the state if he has the requisite ability and character. 19. The right to protection and treatment as a guest in enemy territory once one is within the gates of the enemy's village, town, or city. 20. And the right to an equal share in all benefits from common community undertakings if one has contributed to the fullest extent of his ability, no matter who or how many were able to contribute more. Thanks for staying until the end. May you be among the future African lawmakers and political leaders that will bring about the long-awaited United Africa where peace, justice, democracy, and rule of law will reign. A federal continental country as dreamt by Marcus Garvey, Kwame Nkrumah, and Lumumba, as planned by Sheikh Anta Diop and Teofilo Benga, as requested by Dr. Chancellor Williams. That is all for this video. Thank you for watching or listening. Consider subscribing if you like what we do here. And with that, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.